Life is hard. Whether in our relationships, work, or school, we will always be met with challenges and obstacles. Some are easier to face than others, but one of the most challenging aspects of life and things to deal with are the things that people say. Words have a special effect because of our longing for acceptance. It takes a long time to get to a point where words don't matter, but yet and still, the right words at the wrong time can affect us in drastic ways. When I was thinking of what I wanted my senior song to be, the joke by Brandy Carlisle came almost immediately to mind. I thought to myself, what best encompasses my time at Duke? What best communicates the lessons that I've learned while in college? Throughout my life, people have spent a lot of their time and energy telling me who I am and who I can be, and I spent just as much time and energy listening to them and responding. College is full of people with diverse opinions, and unfortunately, more often than not, it also comes with an unwarranted boldness where people feel inclined to share what they think about you, whether asked or not. The joke is for people that have ever experienced this feeling of being laughed at, of being boxed into what others would have you to be. But the good news is what people say doesn't matter. People's laughs are only fuel for us to be great. In Matthew 10, we're introduced to the 12 disciples, and Jesus gives them very clear instructions. He equips them with power and tells them what they're capable of. He tells them where to go and where not to go. But most importantly, he tells them not to waste time on the opinions of others. In Matthew 10:14, he tells them, whoever will not receive you nor hear your words when you depart from that house or city, shake the dust from your feet. And this is the lesson that I wish that you'll grasp from tonight, to shake the dust off of your feet. In essence, it means to depart in a hurry, especially from an unpleasant situation. To leave. Time is a very precious thing, and not everyone understands that. People will spend a lot of time talking down on us, and the longer we spend in places where we're not welcome, dust will continue to accumulate. And as dust accumulates, it becomes hard to breathe. And as it becomes more difficult to breathe, it becomes more difficult to speak. And then we start coughing, and our eyes start to water. And I don't believe that God would have this to be the life that we live. In closing, I'd like to share a story, not about me, but about a girl named Sarah. Sarah was a stand-up comedian and not a very good one. She would spend gig after gig trying to make people laugh until one day she decided to pursue a change of course. When Sarah was a little girl, she went through a lot, from seeing her best friend killed in a car accident to her parents getting divorced. Seeing the horror on her face, her father bought her a set of motivational tapes called How to Be a No-Limit Person. As Sarah listened to the tapes, she fed her mind with positivity and became more and more motivated to be successful. Sarah would share these tapes with her classmates, saying that one day she would be successful and sit across from Oprah. The tapes just made Sarah a joke in school, and everyone would just laugh at her. No one wanted to sit with her or ride home with her because they wanted to avoid listening to the tapes. They laughed, but she kept smiling and listening to those tapes that her father gave her. Sarah went to college with hopes of becoming a lawyer, but she failed to admission test and realized that law school was not for her. Sarah started working for Disney, hoping to be goofy, but because of her short stature, she was hired as a Disney World greeter. Her old classmates would visit and they would continue to still laugh at her, but Sarah kept smiling. She left Disney to become a salesperson and was convinced that she would master the art of selling. To work on this skill, she got more into public speaking and started doing stand-up comedy. She was bad, really bad. But she shook the dust off of her feet and moved forward from where she was not received. As she continued to sell and continued to do stand-up, even more people laughed at her and rejected her, but Sarah kept smiling. Because Sarah had mastered, by day Sarah had mastered the art of selling, and by night she mastered the art of comedy. And this became Sarah's life in rotation. But Sarah still had a goal in mind. She wanted to be successful, and she wanted to sit across from Oprah. As she shared this lofty goal, observers continued to laugh, but one day Sarah got an idea. She wrote it down and made a plan, but this time Sarah didn't share her idea. She kept perfecting her craft and kept refining her plan. She skipped parties and stopped hanging out with people who did not support her. She met with law firms to patent her idea, but everyone just kept on laughing. But Sarah wasn't bothered because she mastered the art of being rejected. She called manufacturer after manufacturer, but they just kept on laughing. The men at the conferences she would go to would place bets on how long it would take her idea to fail. But Sarah kept smiling in the face of adversity. That little idea that Sarah came up with was Spanx, and the little girl is Sarah Blakely. The funny name skyrocketed to over $8 million in sales, and the funny name that was created by a salesperson and a comedian and a Disney greeter, a funny name that got her a seat with Oprah. Soon after, schoolmates were reaching out to Sarah, but they weren't laughing this time, they wanted her product. The men were reaching out, but they weren't laughing this time, they wanted her advice. Everyone was wishing they had listened to those tapes so long ago, like Sarah did. So as the song says, let them laugh, let them spin, because the joke is on them. The joke is not about an us versus them narrative. It's not about a culture of winning and losing, but it's about not letting what people say affect us from being who we are called